Greetings, this is TimeRider. Hey, I have to start out today by giving a shout out to my benefactor, Jordan, who is from the great state of Florida here in the United States of America. And he donated the casting, along with many others, but he donated the casting that I'm going to be working on today. So Simple Simon met a pieman going to the fair. Says Simple Simon to the pieman, "Let me taste your ware." My restoration today may look simple, but sometimes the simple ones are the hardest, because every flaw shows. The toy was based on the Bedford CA, a pugnacious, multi-purpose truck produced from 1952 to 1969 by Bedford. The truck was put to use in a variety of ways: ambulances, pickup trucks, campers, and at least in Lesney's world, milk trucks. My casting was made in 1957. I know this to be true because there was only 1 year where the toys were produced with crimped axles on one side, domes on the other, and unpainted metal wheels. That would be 1957. Geez, I feel like Casey Kasem. This is a straight-up restoration, as it should be, so stick around. So it's not a very complicated toy, held together with one mushroomed post in the front and a tab in the back. It came apart pretty easily. It's a pretty simple toy. I mean, not counting the wheels, it's just two pieces. And, if you're going to screw these things up, it's always going to be when you're putting it back together. So you really want to do everything you can to make it go together as smoothly as possible. It's going to increase your chances of a good result, trust me. My 1/16 inch Milwaukee doing its business here, putting a hole in that front post. Drop of oil. And then we'll bring in the 2-56 tap. And we got to put it together sometime. So here's a button screw. The wheels had a crimped end, and I thought that the best way to go about this would be just to flatten out the crimp and get the wheels off. And it took some doing, but I didn't want to grind off the material. And after I got the front off, I did the exact same thing in the back. I wanted to have enough metal there to re-pinch the tab when I got done. And then, of course, it all goes into the awful soup. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. So after some time in the soup, I need to get, partly I need to get off the film that it left. And if there's any remnant pieces of paint, then I'm going to need to get those off as well. Same with the base. All those little milk bottles. Prepping the casting is the most important part. It's more important to me than painting it. So you haven't seen me do this for a while, but I needed to get out my safety pins and clean the paint out of some of my cracks. That sounded terrible. One of my subscribers asked me if my stripper was losing potency, and I don't know, maybe it is, and I just don't notice, but didn't take everything off of this one. Lots of crevices, though. And, of course, I always finish up with some 4/0 steel wool, and then a good cleaning to get everything, all the skin oils off of the casting. I've been, experimenting with some stuff, just trying different things. Because, don't get me wrong, Tamiya makes really just wonderful primer, but it's expensive and the availability for me is not that great. So I can get Duplicolor automotive primer right in town. Don't that just sound country of me? This is what I can tell you about it. It works great, but it's thin. So you can't put it on like the Tamiya stuff. You have to do it in smaller coats and let it dry a little bit in between. Otherwise, you'll get runs. But beyond that, you can use this and it works just fine. I baked this at 10 minutes, 170 degrees when I got done. And the base, of course, is just Tamiya white right out of the bottle. The thing you have to remember about, this casting or any other that you're working on, in this case, the base is also the chassis. So I have to make sure that I get in the bottom and shoot that too. I did paint this model twice. As I told you, I'm experimenting with some things, and one of the things that I've been experimenting with is baking paint, and I think I pushed the envelope a little bit too hard with this, and I wound up having to paint it a second time. But I was okay with that because I thought the color was too brown anyway. So I started over, and I was a little brown shy. I don't know, somewhere in my brain I had decided that this was not a brown taken to white or a white taken to brown. This was kind of a pissed off yellow. Like Fred came in with a hangover. Fred the paint guy. You've all heard me talk about the Matchbox Fred the paint guy. The other thing it's important to remember with this type of casting is it's open, so the inside is as visible as the outside. So you got to give it attention everywhere. Painting I believe it's an art. There's people that do it really well, like George Hodges and, Austin over at Diecast Resurrection, that, they just blow it out of the park. Final coat is a heavy wet coat. I just want to try to bring out the natural shine of the acrylic. It's a really beautiful toy, and I admit here I probably should have threw another drop of brown in my base when I was doing this, because it's just not as brown as I wanted it, but I do like it. So then something I do a lot of, that's X35 semi-gloss clear. I'm going to put it in with the last bit of pigmented paint. So basically, it's smarmy yellow clear coat. So the detail was pretty basic. According to everything I read, the grille and headlights were the only thing ever painted. I'm just using basic Tamiya silver. Putting it together, of course, was pretty simple. There you go. Here's where I started. Looked like somebody had painted that green or something at one point. I'm not really sure. Fairly chipped up though. Definitely in need of a little bit of TimeRider tender care, I guess. So let's take a look at where I wound up. Man, I think one more drop of brown would have done it. But I love the toy, and if you look around on the net, you'll find them actually this light. So I think I'm within the range, which makes me a happy camper. So there you have it. The number 29A, Bedford Milk Float. Stick around for an episode of The Bench if that's your kind of thing. And one of the things I'll be telling you is why I did this model today. And for those of you that don't, this is TimeRider. And I'll leave the light on for you. Hey, thanks for sticking around. First, let me tell you about a group of guys. I call them the Three Blind Mice. They can call themselves whatever they want to call them, but we're three old guys whose arms are probably far too short. And you watched us build public safety, and I had a great idea. A while back, I bought 3 of these Matchbox F1 racers. And I sent one to George, and I sent one to Paul. I said, no rules, just have fun. So you'll probably see that in a month or so. We're trying to stay off the same cycle as the International Consortium. So anyway, why did I build that car today? It's a pretty good question. Well, I actually had 2 other projects on the bench that were nearly done. The first, of course, was the T-Bird that everybody asked me to build, and this is why I don't use Tamiya masking tape if I don't have to. So where am I? Well, I'm right back at square one. And the Majorette Fire I was putting it together. And when I put the window glass in, I didn't notice there was a small piece of plastic sticking up right where that opening is that I so meticulously filled, and it popped it out. And so that one went right back into the stripper. I don't think it wants to be a fire vehicle. This will be the 4th time that I'm painting that thing. It just don't like the color red. Well, the International Consortium of Die-Cast Artists is going back to the 50s for their next build. Yep, I'm sure I probably told everybody already, but we've got Fat Guy Productions from beautiful Las Vegas. He's going to be doing this wonderful Hot Wheels T-Bird. No clue if he's restoring or what he's doing, but it ought to be pretty cool anyway. And then on the other side of the country, we have Hodges, Hot Wheels and Diecast. George has this really cool 55 Chevy. I don't know what he's going to do to that either, but I'm guessing they'll involve some really cool paint. And then we have Matchbox Garage across the pond there, and he's doing this 1959 Chevrolet Impala, one of my favorite castings. I don't know why, I just like it. And then we have Nick's Toy Garage. He's going to be doing this little Hudson convertible. I'm assuming he's going to do a straight-up restoration. It's a beautiful casting. We have Tony's Diecast Restos. Sent this picture of a 53 Chevy with some cryptic comments about he's trying to do something that he never did before. And then there's me at Wee Little Cars, and of course I am doing this 1957 Chevy, and it won't look anything like this when I'm done. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time. Click the thumb if you likey. Click it down if you don't. Either one's fine with me. This is TimeRider. Everybody have a great week, and I hope to see you soon.